Um, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 60th week on HRT. Quick measurements update. My hips are 34 and a quarter, my bust is 37 and a half, and my waist is 25 inches. So there's no difference between last week and this week, which isn't a bad thing. That it probably just means that my body is slowing down, or the changes aren't significant enough to be measured this week, which is fine. My emotional status, my emotions, I feel like are pretty under control. I get sad, and whenever I get sad, I get really sad, just because my transition has cost me a lot, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It costs everyone who transitions a significant amount, whether they realize it or not. And with me, yes, I realize it, but my transition has also been so wonderful for me. I can do things that I wouldn't normally be able to do, and it has given me such tremendous courage and a lot of realization as to who I am and who I can be as a person. And so yes, I do get sad, and it's partially me crying over what some of the things I wish I didn't lose. But whenever I'm happy, it's a good time. I'm usually really happy, and that goes into the whole emotional range widening from the HRT. Um, so whenever you're sadder, you're sadder. Whenever you're happy, you're happier, on HRT. And I don't think justice is really done whenever it's talked about, at least as far as the degree of the change, because it's kind of demonstrated yes, this might be your range as a boy, where you're happy and you're sad, but whenever it widens due to the HRTs, you are happier, you are sadder. And so yeah, the rough times are rough, but the good times, they're almost irreplaceable. They're so amazing. And it's wild to me sometimes. It's just how they are. Breast growth. Yes, my breasts are still growing. I can feel them hurting every day. And so yes, I still believe that they're still growing. And I expect next week or something to be able to observe a change. And it is a little weird sometimes, being able to see oh yes, I have breasts, but it's not as weird as more oh, look at that, I actually have breasts and stuff. I look very feminine because of them, and they kind of motivate me to step up, do my makeup and stuff, and actually kind of be me more often, if that makes sense, because it's a lot harder to hide that either that it's harder to hide the fact that I'm transgender. If I boy mode, people kind of know there's something going on with my chest, there's something there. And if I wear makeup, people are oh, she, and if I dress femininely, usually people call me she. And that feels actually really good. It shows me that even though I don't necessarily need my makeup, people are more accepting than what is initially thought. I'm down in Florida right now, and I've dealt with probably 200 people, which is a lot. There's a full show that we had today, and I had to deal with every customer. And I think maybe one or two probably said he or him. Usually I do get called she, though. And it feels really good because it shows me, like, yes, my gender identity is respected here. And it's a nice feeling. I know my ex-wife, Jordan, is really into, like, me having, like, my breast augmentation first. And yes, I do want some, like, breasts that are significantly bigger. Not so big that, like, my frame can't take it, but on the larger side for someone who would normally be my size. Because, like, yes, I recognize I have wide shoulders. And having, like, larger breasts would help make those look smaller, or at least narrower. It's kind of funny. She thinks I want, like, massive, like, anime or, like, porn star breasts, and I was like, oh my gosh, no. That's way too much for me. I don't need that. I don't want that. It seems pointless to, like, it seems to take away from what I am and, like, who I am if, like, I were to get my breasts larger like that, like, to that point. Because at some point it's like, you know, like, that's unrealistic. It's kind of how I do it. Hair reduction. Yes. From day one to now, my hair reduction my hair growth has reduced drastically. And it's such a wonderful feeling to know that, like, I don't have to shave every day. And, like, whenever I do shave, I don't have to, like, go as hard or over it as many times because my hair's not as thick, there's not as much of it, and my skin is significantly softer. So after me shaving and stuff like that, like, running my hands, like, across my legs and my arms, it's a beautiful feeling. And I like it. I enjoy it tremendously. I shave every now and again. I don't have to, like, I can go several weeks if I need to. Whereas, like, before, I would shave and then by the end of the night I'd be prickly and I could go one other day and then, like, it would just feel uncomfortable again. And so I would shave every other day. Which meant, like, I would borderline fillet my skin every other day. I'd leave the shower bleeding in many places, and the next day, like, I would scab over. And that's never the plan or the concept. Sex drive. Surprisingly, very surprisingly, my sex drive, honestly, hasn't really changed that much. And I'm very surprised because traditionally the sex drive slows down or halts altogether until the individual is comfortable and happy with who they are. They have SRS, or they finish their transition. And mine hasn't slowed down, and none of those things have happened. And I don't entirely know what that means. I just know, like, the only real change was more of a mental one, and that was something that, like, I kind of did for myself, became a requirement, and I was like, I have to have an emotional connection, because it feels weird whenever I don't. So now it's like, I have to have an emotional connection just to perform. And as a kid, I kind of took that to mean, like, I'm a hopeless romantic who can't have sex unless, like, I really know and, like, I'm sure of this person. Whereas, like, now it's like I don't even have that option. I can't do hookups or anything like that because I don't have a connection with that person. So it's hard. It's very hard. But I'll make it work. Me being tired, yes, I am tired. Obviously, I've gone twice so far in this video. But part of that is my testosterone dropping from my spironolactone, and I don't sleep well, like, at all. For one reason or another, I'm actually afraid to go to sleep. And I can kind of explain that if anyone wants to know, but it's not really important. So I don't usually get a whole lot of sleep. I don't usually sleep well anyway. It be what it be. I'm not gonna let that stop me from giving the world a place like this where people can be themselves within reason. I feel like bringing joy into the world by hate does a lot better wonders. Because more people are going to want to, like, carry that on because it's a good thing. I don't really know too many bad things people, like, want to carry on. And my voice, I don't get to practice my voice as much or as often as I'd like, which is fine. I just, I do it whenever I answer the phone, and that's pretty much it. So whenever I'm on the phone, it's like, yes, I can sound like a girl if need be, for short periods of time, and I think that's kind of fun. It's fun for me to do, it's fun for my coworkers to see, because they, like, see me, like, kind of, like, speaking in my boy voice, because I don't really care, and then they'll, like, hear me answer the phone and be like, hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair. That's pretty much it on that. I have started a group therapy session just because I'm going through a lot and I needed a little extra help. And I go to this group therapy 3 times a week for almost 3 hours. And I could speak on it a lot, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to spread any negativity. That's mostly what I've been doing this week. I've been trying to consult my friend for, like, business advice as well. He gave me some suggestions, and I told him I'm going to do what I can, because we've had some serious theft issues that we're taking care of and we learned from. just trying to recover. And it did take a lot of money to open this place up, but I don't regret it. This is a fun place, and I opened it up mostly so people like me could have a place to go. I want the transgender individuals to know that, like, even in Florida, people care. And I care. There was we're opening up another business directly next door to this one, which I think is kind of cool. And in there, we're gonna do like makeovers and stuff for transgender people, and kind of like let some women get like makeovers by like drag queens and stuff like that, because those are the entertainers here. This is what the stage is for. And it's gonna be like a little boutique, but we have started to take some clients, and one of them I took, and because like, yes, she was transgender, and she wanted to learn how to do male to female makeup. And it's kind of cool, because to do it well, you kind of have to know like what about you makes you look masculine. Because if you don't know what makes you look masculine, then you're kind of just shooting in the dark and hoping that what you're doing sticks. And so I told her what I did. I took her to the back to the dressing room. I showed her how to like color correct her facial hair and all of that. And I don't think she would want me to like say her name, so I'm not going to. But I was just happy that I was able to make her happy and show her something that she really wanted to do. She was beautiful before, and I think showing her how to do her makeup would give her the confidence to like step out and let the world see how beautiful she is. I do think that all of my sisters and my brothers, they're all beautiful. And they're all incredibly strong. It takes a lot of strength to go through what we go through, just because on the initial, like, what it costs. We know the possibilities, we know what the potentials are, but none of us expect to truly lose everything. We expect to lose like some things, but not everything. And it's wild. A year ago today, well, not today necessarily, but a year ago, I had lost my my marriage. My ex-wife and I were separated. She had a boyfriend, and I was single. I was on HRT still, and I wanted nothing more than to be with her still, and I still have my job, and my family didn't they weren't entirely opposed, because they didn't know really. They knew of Jordan, they knew that my ex-wife was transgender, and they thought it was really cool, and they were all incredibly nice to her whenever they met her. But whenever I came out, it was something completely different. They didn't necessarily agree with it, and I was kind of banned from the house for a while. I haven't seen my siblings in 2 years because 2 of them haven't graduated high school. guess that was kind of the dividing line of like when I should be able to come around and interact with them again. Because there is the fear that like if I come around, they're gonna be like, oh, that's kind of cool. My oldest brother is now my sister, and she's beautiful. I did almost get kidnapped this week as well. I thought it was kind of funny. A lot of the guests, they drink a bit of the alcohol and sometimes they get inebriated. And Jordan likes to sick them on me because they think I look really cute sometimes, which is wild to me because I never really thought like that I looked cute or anything. Like even the masculine me, I never really thought like I looked feminine or anything like that. But whenever I walk around and like people think I'm cute, whenever they get drunk, it's kind of a different conversation where they're always hanging on me, they're hugging me and stuff like that. And they're like, you should come home with me. And I'm like, I'm not emotionally available. I'm sorry. I'm still very much in love with someone else, and I need to get through that. I don't think I ever will fully get through it, just because nothing was done wrong. Because the whole reason is I came out as transgender and my ex-wife is none of the girls. It's not like I went out and cheated or she cheated or I lied or something like that. I'm just not a man. I'm a girl who was born in a man's body, and I'm correcting that. It is kind of funny. There was actually 2 of them in one night. Usually there's just one at most. And the one was very respectful. She was talking to Jordan and they were asking about me. And they're like, she is so cute. And Jordan was like, who? And she goes, the DJ. Because I DJ during the week. And I was walking out to take a picture. I was like, I could see them like looking back at me and looking over at Jordan. I was like, uh-oh, what's going on? Like, I don't understand. Man. It's nice to be wanted in this way because as a boy, I was kind of just disregarded. Girls that I liked never gave me the time of day, and I didn't know if, like, I could even be with a boy. So I never really viewed myself as gay. After high school, I did start experimenting a little bit more, especially after college, because I wanted to know. I wanted to figure out, like, if I could be with a boy or if I could be with a girl. And yes, I could be with a boy or a girl. It doesn't really matter to me. Because I guess it's all about like how that person makes me feel, and not like in a temporary way. Like whenever like I'm with someone, like I'm in it for the long haul usually, which is why like I have a hard time doing like one night stands and stuff like that. I think I talked about it before, but I'll do like a brief recap of like my dating history. And it's like I dated a girl on and off throughout high school. In college, I remained single for 2 years. And then I left college, got my current job, and we rekindled once they shipped me up to New York, and I flew her up there once we reconnected and started dating again. She was with someone else at the time, but I paid for a divorce. She had 2 wonderful kids, and we didn't work out because I didn't know. Yes, like, I was experimenting sexually, and I think the factor that really changed things was whenever she came in, and I was kind of like, I thought it'd be fun to like dress up in some of her clothes, because through sheer serendipity and a mighty interesting coincidence, we wore like the same size clothes, and so I put on some of her clothes because I knew she was coming up, and I thought it'd be fun if like she came in and I was like messing around, because I was folding laundry and stuff, and I just didn't expect that like I would also enjoy it in the way that I did. But whenever she opened the door, her face was not like happy, or she didn't think it was funny. She was just mortified. She saw it, stared at me for like 5 seconds, and left. And we didn't talk to each other for like an hour, because I could feel that she was genuinely hurt or had a problem with it. And in that hour, I changed back into my clothes, kind of waited for her to come back up, and I was like, dude, can we talk? And she sat down next to me, and she's like, I think that's a good idea. She then straight up asked me, like, are you gay? Like, do you need to be with a boy? And stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I don't think so. And we ended up breaking up because I didn't know quite what was wrong. I thought that me being with a girl would kind of fix like my feelings and stuff like that, and it didn't. So I was like, well, maybe a boy. So I got my first boyfriend. He was so incredibly nice, and he just annoyed me at the end because he would just do things and I would ask him not to because they were annoying me, and he wouldn't listen, and that was it. And it was mostly like, it was little things like chewing with your mouth open while you're on camera with me and stuff like that, because we started out like, we met on Tinder, and it was funny. I didn't fully know that he was a cross-dresser until like he met up and he knew my name. And we met in a public place, and I was like, oh, hey. We went to a movie, and we started dating. I had a good time with him, and I hate that I had to leave. I also didn't like, I guess, the intimate arrangement that we had. I'll put it that way. I guess I'll go and explain what that means. So, I like to change and do different things and stuff like that. And like, yes, I can top, and I can also bottom in a very intimate setting. But he was solely a bottom, and he didn't like it whenever I touched him in certain ways, and it made me feel uncomfortable because I didn't quite know why, and if I knew the why, I could gear and rearrange towards different things. But there was no explanation. It was just like, hey, don't do that. And I was like, oh, why should I do that? He's like, I just don't like it. And I'm like, doesn't really tell me a whole lot. And it was just like a guessing game. I felt like, well, what if I keep doing these things that he doesn't like and stuff? I don't know. After him, I met my ex-wife. And I knew that she was transgender. I did not know, if she was male to female or female to male, because I didn't know what that meant. I just knew, a transgender person was kind of somewhere in, the middle at the time, because that was my basic concept of what it was, and I didn't understand. I know significantly more now, at least I would hope so, since I'm going through my own gender transition. And she was male to female. I never asked, I never cared. She actually cared more about me knowing than I did at some points. And I was perfectly okay with it. I was like, okay, don't care. It's because she made me incredibly happy. It wasn't, for me, a relationship is more than just sex. It's the little moments that you make with someone that make all the meaning for me. One of my favorite things to do was not making love to my ex-wife. It was actually laying on this massive beanbag couch that we used to have, and we'd just watch a movie. I would lay on my head on her shoulder, and I'd put my hand across her waist, my arm, and my leg on hers, and it was perfect. Easily my favorite thing to do, because it was the most relaxing thing that ever happened back in those days. I remember I left for a couple months, and I slowly started to change. We never watched movies or anything anymore, and at some point I came out as transgender, and we just drifted apart. We're best friends now. We own a business together. But I do miss them with her. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't. I think that's enough for my dating history. Let's get this walk out of the way, y'all. I think that's it for today, y'all. I did open up a Twitter account, or I guess X now. So if y'all want, you can now join me on X, as well as my Discord and my Blue Sky. I do have a couple other social media accounts, but due to certain reasons, I'm not allowed to share them yet, because they do kind of portray what my current occupation is, and I'm not really at liberty to say. But with that being said, this is Brianna Sinclair, signing off.